Well, what do we have here? This is a canopy style Trident Maple. How old is it? I can't remember for sure, but it's got to be more than 20. Might be closer to 30, but it's quite old. But what I wanted to show you was, I think this one needs major repotting. I don't remember this being as high as it is. So when I take this apart, we'll find out. But before going on, this is a canopy style, and it is not a broom style. Broom style looks like this. The broom they're talking about looks like this. And they actually make bonsai looking like this, which is quite difficult because you don't want this bulge that naturally happens when you try to get this shape. But that is, to me, a canopy. And they don't have this style in Japan very much because, well, people in Japan don't see a whole lot of trees growing in nature. Well, here in Northern California, we are surrounded by all kinds of canopy style, our oak trees and things like that. And even in people's gardens, you let things grow naturally, then it becomes a canopy style. Anyway, well, today's subject is about repotting this. Well, there's plenty of weeds, but I figure it's no use pulling them because I'm going to redo this whole thing over. So what I'm going to do is to pull this out, and I'm going to pull this out, and I'll get back to you. Okay, the reason why it was tough to get out is look at that. All these roots are doing nothing, and they got caught up in my drain screen. That's why I couldn't get it out. But I figure, well, this Trident has always been like that. It's a very vigorous grower, and if you don't take care of it every 2, 3, 4 years, it gets like this. It's probably been 3 or 4 years. So I'm gonna have to unravel all this and then just stick it back in. Well, remember I was saying that it felt like it was higher? Well, see, this is the drain. So that's the height it was, so it picked up another inch or so. Well, anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and kind of get this thing unraveled. And putting it back is a simple process, but yeah, look at this. Look how vigorous this. You could see layers and layers. Well, when it gets like this, it no longer has contact with the soil. Oh, here's our drain screen. So all this stuff came after it was in. Well, anyway, when you have all these roots that are en route, then because all the fertilizer is in the soil, it almost looks unfed, and generally it gets unhealthy. But it's amazing what a plant can survive. So I shall take pruners something like that, okay? So I'll get back to you. Well, look at that. There's, I think more than half is here than there. That's why the whole thing lifted up. Oh, I've seen people's collection where it was worse than this. The whole bonsai was coming out of the pot because it was so long neglected. So we'll trim lightly. Well, not lightly because we took off all that, but see, they were not really doing anything. And so I'll go ahead, take all this off, pull the weeds off, and then put it back again. Oh. Yeah, I'll save this root, I mean not the root, but the moss, and put it back in like it was a brand new tree. Oh yeah, see, it's a nice tree, very hardy tree. Okay, I got the pot washed, put the screen back in, and then I'm going to put a thin layer of soil, maybe about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch, something like that, and then we'll put our tree back in. Let's do this trial fit. Still got this. We don't need these, so we just cut them. I think it's okay. Maybe more like this. Okay, and then do I put the rocks back in or not? Let me go ahead and try. Well, while we're here, let me talk about this pot. This one was imported about the middle of 1970s when I was still in the import business. It's from the town of Yokkaichi. You see the name Tokoname, which is another town, and well, the misconception is Tokoname is just the name of the town. So just because it's from Tokoname, it makes it automatically good. Well, there are great potters in Tokoname, but every time they come out with a great one, Yokkaichi would just make copies. Well, yeah, well, somebody has a good idea and somebody always wants to copy it. And they don't have the copyright laws like they have here. And anyway, this pot was a production type, and it was relatively moderately priced. These that can be stacked on each other, it cuts the cost down in terms of shipping and firing and everything. So anyway, just in case you were interested in the pot, that's where it came from a long time ago. I have a few left. Well, I've been hoarding it. And I'm thinking, wait, why should I be hoarding now when I need to be getting out? What do you think? Too much talking? Then fill back in. Yeah, sometimes I talk too much and lose focus on the job at hand. I noticed that rock placement requires sort of the Zen state. It's really hard to be talking, especially in a live audience situation. I found that sometimes it doesn't always fit together. Versus here, I could do it a little better. For one, if it doesn't come out, I could shut off the camera and you never know that I goofed. It's called editing. Yeah, I really like this format. And so, I have this option of filling it back in, but I think that letting that part float like that, it makes it more dramatic. And since it's been like that for a long time, it's no longer a root. It has a bark, so it's more like a trunk. So this is the process I go through. I just kind of turn it around and then finish grading. You know, when I was landscaping, this was very critical, and too many of the landscapers, they just kind of threw a bunch of things together. But to make it natural looking, you have to really understand, and it's not just throwing it together. This is little bumps and things like that makes a world difference in bonsai, and to a large extent in the garden too. Sometimes I occasionally miss the landscaping part, but not much, because it's labor intense and it's very labor or physically demanding, versus this is relatively simple. Okay, so I think I'm about where I want to be, and I'm going to see if I could salvage the moss. Well, it looks like I'm done. So this has been the Trident canopy style, not a broom. So this is Hiro saying goodbye. I'll see you again real soon in another chapter. Yeah, I guess we had just enough moss, just barely enough to recover. It's okay, you'll recover in no time. Definitely, it is not a broom style.